In just a moment, you're going to sign that you received at time of hire the J.J. Keller federal book regarding safe practices for DOT and drug alcohol training program. Because you're being hired doing a safety-sensitive function as driving a commercial vehicle truck, there are several things that we must do to comply with both North Carolina DOT and federal DOT regulation. The first thing is you must pass a DOT drug test before you can start driving our vehicle. You should have already gone for your DOT drug test, however it does take a few days to get those results. We also as employers must verify the last 3 years' history to verify that in your past that you have not failed or refused a drug or alcohol test. We can legally start you even if your employer does not apply, as long as we can show that we made 3 attempts and we have those attempts documented for verification. However, if you start employment and then verification comes in that you failed a drug or alcohol test, we would have to remove you from performing that safety-sensitive function to complete the required steps to get everything taken care of. In addition to that, DOT requires that once you're a commercial vehicle driver and you're involved in an accident, you must do a drug and alcohol test immediately, regardless of fault, if that accident is a fatality situation. If it is non-fatality, you would only have to do a post-drug and alcohol test within 2 hours if you're given the citation and someone goes to the hospital or a vehicle is towed. You will also be signed that you understand as a commercial vehicle driver, you're required to do a post-accident drug and alcohol test for all accidents regardless of fault, whether it's done DOT on a federal form because it's required by them, or if it's done on a non-DOT form because it's required by our company handbook. NTA Truckers Association will also control our random pulls. If your name comes up for a random drug test, you will be instructed where to report. 9 times out of 10 it will be at the HR department or a local lab, depending upon what day of the week it is, to do your drug test. We use NTA Truckers Association to randomly select our employees by their social security number so that we cannot get accused of profiling. Once your name comes up, and you're told that you have to do a testing, you have 2 hours to urinate. If you do not urinate within 2 hours, this is considered a refusal. No worries, we will have water and soda and coffee for you to help you with that transaction. Reasonable suspicion. A reasonable suspicion drug test is exactly what it states it is. We have trained staff that are certified to notice if there is unusual behavior in our drivers. For an example, Mary comes in on Monday, her eyes are glazy, her speech is slurred, and she's stumbling. She may be told that a reasonable suspicion alcohol test is required before allowing her to go out on a commercial vehicle truck. Mary comes in and says, "I'm not under the influence," and refuses to do this test. It is considered a refusal and she will lose her license. However, if Mary does a test and nothing is found, and we already know that this is out of character for Mary, then we may suggest that she needs medical treatment because it could be something like a sugar disorder that she's unaware of. We do not do reasonable suspicion drug tests unless it's exactly what it is. We have reason to believe that she could possibly be under the influence of alcohol and drugs. As you start working with our team, we'll get to know you and we'll know what's out of behavior. So if something is not that, we're going to know that something is not quite right with you. But we have to sit down and let you know what the purpose of doing that drug test for. We can't tell you it's anything other than what it is. You have a right for that. We do not participate in return to duty and follow-up. The book that we gave you is a federal book listing what the guidelines are federally. However, North Carolina has restrictions that are above what the federal level requires. What that means, in North Carolina, if you fail or refuse to do a drug and alcohol test, you will immediately lose your CDL license for 1 year or till you complete an SAP or substance abuse training program. Our company does not participate in that program. If you fail or refuse a drug or alcohol test, you will be immediately terminated and it will be up to you to get your license back. Once you do get your license back, please be aware that that SAP return duty program remains on your MVR record in North Carolina for 7 years. So even after you complete it, it makes it very difficult for you to get a job anywhere else you go. And yes, that does include marijuana. You cannot do marijuana even in states that it is legal because federally marijuana is not legal and will make you fail. Please be careful about things like that. When you're doing your drug testing, the law says that you cannot do drugs even when you're off. So that doesn't matter if you're on vacation, doesn't matter why you're taking them, the prescription has to be written to you, it must be within 30 days if it's a narcotic, and it must be taken as it's prescribed. If you do not take it that way, you will come up positive. If you are on a prescription and it is a narcotic and it does not affect you during business hours and you're taking it as the doctor prescribed within 30 days, it will not affect your drug testing because you are quote-unquote covered unless it's something that's on the non-approved list. Please ask if you have any questions on that. Lastly, DOT will allow you to drink all you want if you're off, but in North Carolina, there is a zero tolerance for alcohol when operating a commercial vehicle truck. That means if you blow a .01, you're going to be out of service for 24 hours. If you blow a .02, you're going to lose your license and have the same consequences as failing or refusing a drug test. You will lose your license for 1 year and have to go to an SAP before it can be reinstated. The consequences of losing your license when it comes to drugs and alcohol is severe, and quite frankly, is not worth the risk. Be sure that you're careful and you don't do anything not to only change your job, but also change your livelihood. The book also goes over the requirements for effects of drugs and alcohol in the body. Simply put, some drugs will slow you down where you can't respond quickly and defensively, and other drugs speed you up where you want to drive recklessly and carelessly. In other words, don't do drugs, and if you do have a happy drink, make sure it's done 4 hours minimum before coming into work. Your safety and the safety of our citizens depends upon it.